done a fair amount of these CTAs where we've changed uses and put them in different spots, but we haven't done really any land use plan changes, really, you know what I mean, like to kind of match those, so, which is fine. Then we just do amendments as they come in, and that's fine. Part of the reason why we did that big land use plan amendment was we were trying to put a halt to the amendment.
Well,
so
I actually see this as a positive thing in terms of trying to make the uses maybe line up better with what the intention of the land use plan is. So that's a good example, but I see that in other things too, where if we have, need lower intensity or the uses that are have been there for a while, and we're looking at them and saying, well, how does this actually work? And it's like, this probably isn't, this use is not appropriate for that, for that zoning or for that land use. And then moving them, basically, that's why you're moving the table around. You're saying that this, especially like the convenience store and gas station, you broke it up because they were really two different functions, often combined, but they are two different functions, and which one's most intense is the gas station. So I see that as a positive thing. And in fact, as thinking about many of the changes we made, they have been more trying to almost funnel everything to its appropriate place, because I think when we started the whole LDO process, we went pretty broad with some of these, just so that we wouldn't leave anybody out, or to basically provide a lot of opportunity across the various zoning districts. Now I think is probably, as we're going through and fine tuning, to pick those apart and put the right uses in the right zoning districts, and therefore the land use plan as well. So but it is kind of disconcerting. It's like, well, I thought we had this, we could have all of these uses in this land use, and then when we move it will affect obviously some people that want to. I was going to create a gas station in my backyard, but I can't now.
Well, to that point,
that was emphatic.
I can't hear you.
Yeah, I know. Excuse me. To that point, when we were updating the land use plan in 2022, we know how quickly things have changed and how development trends have changed throughout Fuquay-Varina and the southeast or southwest, southern Wake County. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And so we're always reviewing the land use plan amendment, and at some point we'll do an across-the-board overview of the land use plan amendment, and then when that occurs, to your point, Andy, that is when we'll marry it up with the permitted use table to make sure that it's still relevant based on the current classifications in the land use plan.
Yeah, I'm fine with land use plan amendments. I just
no, but
sometimes it just
it's
happens.
a good point.
But there's just that, and my only other concern would be is, like I said, I get real concerned. We throw uses into one zoning only. Those kind of get a little bit.
Is there opportunity for somebody to?
There's some opportunity for people to, especially if we don't have enough land use plans designated that match with those zonings, and we're not allowed to do land use plan amendments. So that kind of thing. That would be my only. Sure. That was kind of the reason I brought it up. I don't think land use plan amendments are that bad. Things change all the time.
Well, and I think as before, we were starting to get more and more land use plan amendments. I think that's almost a sign to staff that maybe we need to look at it, right? If it's becoming a more current thing, then something has changed.
Right. And it's hard to get
up.
it. The market changes daily.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, any more questions or discussion? That's pretty good discussion. If not,
I'll make a motion. Move to recommend approval of CTA-2025-04 amendment number 30, an amendment to the Town Code of Ordinance, Part 9, Land Development Ordinance, as presented and recommended by staff. The text amendment improves upon the Land Development Ordinance and is reasonable and in the best interest of the public for the reasons identified by staff.
Second.
which one of you wants it?
Rock, paper, scissors.
All right, we'll give the motion to Nolan and the second to Barbara. All right. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Everybody knows what we're voting on? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. We will move to public hearing item 4B, REZ 2025-05, 5202 Spence Farm Road. Further information provided by staff.
All right, thank you again, Mr. Chair. Once again, I am submitting the agenda abstract and the supporting documents into the official record of the town. Second item before you tonight is REZ 2025-05. It's a rezoning requested by Madame E. Homes at 5202 Spence Farm Road. It's PIN number 0657360697. This rezoning is a total of 19.78 acres from the residential agricultural zoning and the office and institutional conditional zoning districts to the PUD, planned unit development zoning district. Have a master plan here tonight, as well as some renderings. Staff recommends approval of the proposed zoning map amendment as it is reasonable in the best interest of the public for the following reasons. Number one, the requested zoning district supports the Land Use Plan Policy 3.1, create a comprehensive, connected, and continuous network of green space. 2, the requested zoning district supports the Land Use Plan Policy 7.1, establish a discernible neighborhood structure. 3, the requested zoning district supports the Land Use Plan Policy 7.2, encourage transitional uses and intensities in and around project boundaries. And number 4, the master plan and narrative included with the request ensure the future use fits into the development context and demonstrates compliance with the zoning conditions offered and many goals of the 2040 land use plan. Our petitioner is here tonight, and I am also available to answer any questions.
All right, before we open the public hearing, does anybody have any questions for staff? Seeing none, we will open the public hearing, and I'll invite the applicant if they would like to come up and make a statement.
Good evening. Josh Chinnery, Mattamy Homes, 11,000 Regency Parkway, Cary. Want to thank you guys for the opportunity to speak on this. It's a pretty good project we're excited about. Smaller project for us, 47 homes, with really reducing the density to, I think the allowable density is about 6 units an acre. I think we're about 2.5, 2.6, something like that. So just a good opportunity to be adjacent to the school, to really put a quality project. A lot of the conditions that we put within this, the hardy siding, the elevated foundations, and things like this will just really, think will blend well into the community and really a good-looking project. We're excited about doing it.
Great, thank you. Anybody have any questions for the applicant? I think we're good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, does anybody wish to speak in favor? Eva, do we have anybody signed up for a favor?
They didn't indicate that on
Okay.
this sign-up sheet, but we do have Miss Ashley Hales.
If you would, just state your name and address, and then tell us if you're in favor or opposition.
Ashley Hales, 2200 Gateway Center Boulevard, Suite 216, Morrisville, North Carolina, 27560. I am the engineer with ESP Associates, a consultant for the project, and available to answer any questions, but I'm here speaking in favor of the development.
Great, thank you. Eva, we have anybody else signed up?
Yes, Becca Boss.
All right.
Sorry, guys. I will do my best. My first time doing this.
That's all right. Take your time. It's
I am at Becca's Boss. I am at 5500 Spence Plantation Lane, so we are ETJ right up the street in McKenzie. I guess my questions that I pose before approval would be, as we are developing that road that is now ETJ area for Fuquay, I'm not opposed to development. However, we've had to do a lot of the work ourselves, working with DOT, in order to get things like speed reduced on the road, which has not actually helped. So it has only gone from 55 to 45. And as we're increasing development on this very small 2-lane road that is also twisty-turny, I would love if we were also having the city help figure out how to make that a safer transition. Talking about adding a church literally across the street from our entrance, talking about adding 40 whatever homes it was to the end of the street. Could we look at working with the DOT to lower the speed limit on that road to 35 so that it matched in-town speeds? Could we look at adding stop signs along the way so it could stop being a cut through, which has only gotten worse ever since they've added the stop lights at Wilbin and Wade Nash? So it is only becoming a bigger cut through. So they each got stoplights, and now in order to avoid that, Spence Plantation Lane is becoming a let's go 65 miles an hour down this road. When you try to pull out of our neighborhood specifically, and I can only speak for us, it is very dangerous because you can't see them coming. And they aren't coming at 45 miles an hour, and there's currently nothing stopping them from using it as a cut through. So I would just ask the town to consider that as you're expanding development along that very tiny 2-lane road where there are literally houses and driveways exiting onto that we maybe reduce the speed limit, add some stop signs, sort of reduce the ability to make it like a fly-through. but I wouldn't say I'm for or against it. I mean, I understand development is part of it, just for the current status, if we could look at safety as how we're improving that pieces along the way.
Right, fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Eva, we got anybody else signed up?
We have another gentleman with ESP Associates if they feel led to come. If not,
Okay, doesn't sound like they want to come up
okay,
here.
that's all we have.
That's all we got. Is anybody else in? I think that's everybody that's out there, unless Josh wants to come up here and say something. All right. Well, given that, I guess at this point we'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the board for discussion. I think it would be helpful to understand how that works out here when we get into these ETJ areas. What's DOT? What's the town? And how does that work? I know that a lot of times the town typically has to request those speed limit reductions to DOT and see if we're at their mercy for it. Is that something you guys could speak on here?
You are correct as far as the process, but that is something that we would look into.
Please, thank you.
Absolutely.
I think that would be all, I think our neighborhood would be in full support if we just felt like we were also being heard.
Sure, we have a great relationship with DOT, and we'll discuss it with them as soon as we can.
Yeah, and I think you can also do requests for like site distance inspections and stuff like that. I know that that's happened at I think it's Wagstaff and Piney Grove Wilbon.
Yeah.
Down there, that's a tough turn too, and I think that they've had to come out there and do that as well. So
I agree with that. I mean, I feel like it's at least worth a study on that road. I drive that road quite a bit because it's kind of near my neighborhood. Sometimes getting out's a little easier that way. And I mean, it is like a kind of a windy, twisty road. You put more development on there, and it's going to be more traffic. And I mean, it's worth a look at for sure. But I feel like it's one of those roads, you know, it's not a main corridor that people are traveling off. It's not like Lakestone Village Commons or anything like that. So it's something that, you know, unless somebody brings it up, probably not something we're thinking about pretty often to look at. But I think it's worth noting whenever we have development like this, it's probably.
So is this likely to trigger traffic impact analysis? It seems like.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. I was looking, it was kind of like, it's probably not going to get one. And then the other question, and so that's, you know, our usual kind of fallback is, well, there'll be traffic impact analysis, but there's probably not in this case.
Generally, 100 lots is sort of the
Yeah,
threshold
yeah.
for that, because it's a
Yeah,
100 peak hour trips or 1,000 daily.
This is a smaller one.
You can see, so the CTP does have this as both Spence Farm Road and Old Powell Road, which they have a little bit of frontage on that corner. It's an 8.2.1, which is a 2-lane road with sidewalks and a 70-foot right-of-way. So they will be dedicating along the frontage there. They will be installing the curb gutter and sidewalk. And you can also see they would be required to put a deceleration lane in, like kind of right-hand turn lane into their neighborhood, which is going to help a little bit. I mean, obviously, they can only make improvements along their frontage because that's the only thing they have control over.
Yeah,
but
look, Spence Farm Road especially seems to be a pretty long road. I mean, it's, you know, I guess looking at the transportation plan might also be worthwhile, and to say, is this especially if there's more development planned along this, what should that look like? Maybe we should have, you know, maybe 3-lane, you know, with turns or something like that.
and they will be required to get a DOT driveway permit, so they will have to go through DOT approvals.
Yeah, I
in
guess,
addition to town,
like I
but-
said, the TIA, since it won't be done, is like, okay, well, but again, then, and the transportation plan did not really anticipate expansion of traffic along this road, because it's basically, it's still what it is, even, you know, it's still what it is, just adding sidewalks. I mean, that's not.
we don't really have like a discussion with the audience.
Yeah. So, so I think that's something that's worth, at least from the staff perspective, to look at the CTA and see if there's something that maybe in the future we should probably flag for. And this probably isn't the only road like it. You know, we got, you know, they were all rural farms or, you know, large lot individual houses along the way. And then as those get moved over into developments, even small ones like this, long term, that'll have some impact. So.
Yeah, I mean, one of the challenging aspects of this is we could say, we think this should be a 4-lane road or have turn lanes in the middle of everything. But when this one comes through, they'll do those frontage improvements, but the majority of this is already developed as either county subdivisions or county lots.
Right.
And so that really won't make a difference.
It may not change, yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, I think it really is just going to fall upon petitioning DOT to lower that speed limit and making some sound arguments as to why it should be, and getting them to, because even a TIA wouldn't take care of that. I mean, it wouldn't
Yeah.
justify. They wouldn't do that. So
Yeah, well, like, there isn't even a TIA required for this, so.
But the good news is when you install these curbs along these roads, it generally does slow people down a little bit more than when you
Yeah.
just have a 2-lane road. People tend to fly down those. Psychologically, people see curb and gutter and they think 35 even if it's not, but,
Yeah, I mean, like it's a road where if you're going down Old Pal, it's rural, you know, you don't have necessarily the sidewalks there unless somebody's walking, you know, kind of on the side of the road, then maybe you slow down. But like as you get more pedestrian, you know, stuff, people do tend to be a little more cautious. And
yeah.
I do like the walkways and stuff in the plan as well. I think, you know, adds for a lot of pedestrian.
It's a good looking plan.
Yeah, yeah.
Is this the old property that the school got rezoned to O&I? Is that what this? Okay. I was wondering why it was an O&I sticking out in the middle of RA. That's what I thought it was. Okay. So anybody have any more questions, comments, concerns, motions?
I'll make a motion to approve, make sure I'm looking at the right one. Recommend approval of REC 2025-05, a zoning map amendment for 5202 Spence Farm Road from office and institutional conditional zoning district, ONI CZD, and residential agricultural RA zoning district to the planned unit development PUD zoning district as it is reasonable and in the best interest of the public for the reasons identified by staff.
Second.
All right. We got a motion and a second. Motion by Ed, second by Nolan. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, that concludes our public hearing section for tonight. Planning staff report, item 6A. Purpose of this agenda item is to receive the information on the disposition of the planning board's recommendations to the town board of commissioners since the July 21st, 2025 planning board meeting. Didn't look like there was a whole lot there. Still batting 1,000, as we always are, seems like. With that, Barbara, it's your time to shine.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Barbara and Jay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
Thank you.